Let's begin today's session. I am going to start you off slightly differently compared to the way I usually do it, because I guess majority of you are software testers, so I need not go and then talk about what's the difference between manual testing and automation testing and all that, because hopefully you are manual testers and you see and you know what exactly your daily tasks are. So I mean, I don't really have to give the reasons behind it, but very quickly, the reason you are doing automation is because of the fact that it's pretty lame to be a manual tester, I guess, because it's monotonous, the same job that you've been doing every day. Well, you would say that that not necessarily is the reason, and I agree with you, because that is not necessarily the reason. The reason, the other reasons are basically your company should be getting optimum, work out of you, and that is possible if you can do some automation, because doing manual testing would take n number of hours, and that n number of hours should be significantly cut down if you could bring in automation. So how can we do automation? So anytime you want to get into automation is basically you have to have this understanding that automation comes by using or by implementing, by creating some scripts. Right? So these scripts are small programs that you, as an automation test engineer, have to create or write. Right? So if you are going to write or create those automation scripts, you have to have certain tools that you would be using, certain programming language that you would be using to write those scripts. Now you would say, what kind of scripts I would be writing? Basically, you are writing something so that you are mimicking, you are duplicating the actions performed by a manual tester. So what does a manual tester do? Well, a manual tester goes and does manual testing. Oh, what a nice way of putting it, right? So what is manual testing? Well, if you have an application and you need to test that, you will have certain test cases. So let me just draw your attention to the fact that, okay, this, let's say, is one of the websites and where you have to go and you have to perform some manual testing in here. Now, so what kind of testing are you performing on this website? So one of the test cases that I can tell you that you would be performing here is making sure that the functionality of logging in works, right? So what is the functionality of logging in? I mean, we all could relate to it. We know that when somebody enters this as the username, in this case, the username is the phone number. And if they enter a password over here and click on this submit, they should be able to log in, right? So they should be able to log in. That is the successful way of testing this functionality, which is the login functionality. Now, the other scenario is when you enter the username and password, the user is, or the visitor is, or the member of the site is unable to log in, right? So the happy path scenario is when you enter the right phone number and the right password, click on submit, you enter in it. So let's do a manual testing here. So I come in here and I enter this. So that's my phone number. And here I'm going to be entering my password. My password is the word password, and I click on that. And as you can see, I have multiple profiles. And I mean, more than there being multiple profiles, I am able to log in. So there are two things that you are seeing in here. One thing is, of course, I am able to log in because as you can see my profile in there. But you also see something odd in here. And the odd part is my profile is displaying twice. So is this an error? Is this a bug? Is this a defect, right? So we got to be looking into things like that. So how can you say if this is a defect or not? I don't want you to think in, logically, because that's a good habit of thinking logically. But sometimes our logic can be flawed, right? So don't go by the logic, but go by the requirements. So the requirements specifications say that when you enter a phone number and when you enter a password, you should be able to log in, and then they would say that in the login box you would, or in the page for a successful login, you should see a customer's first name and you should see the customer last name, customer phone number, and yada yada yada. So you are seeing that, but you are seeing one more copy of that. So you could draw it, this to the attention of your team, that you're not only getting one but two. So basically, what you do, you will take a snapshot of this, and then you would attach to your findings. And then if it is something which you could not conclude whether we should be passing this or failing it, you can always consult with your team. All right, so that's how testing is done. But let's come back and then discuss a little bit more about this test case. All right, so in order to discuss a little bit more about this test case, what I'm going to do is I will go in here and I will enter a wrong password. So some password I will enter and I will click on that. Now, if you do that, now notice that it is conveying something. It is saying that, hey, we are sorry, no matching profile found for that username and password combination entered. Please try again, right? Or did you forget your password? If you forget your password, click here to retrieve it, right? And then new members, probably he or she is not a member of this. So new member should go in there. So now this part, forgetting the password, so to retrieve a password, that would be another test case. Click to register as a new member, that should be another test case. To give you an example, when you click on that, probably it's going to bring you up to this place where you have to go and then you have to register yourself. So let me just think as a new member of this site and register myself. So let me call myself as my first name is John, and my last name is Smith. Probably there's already some John Smiths here. So, but let's see. So email is jsmith2020 at gmail.com. All right. So now notice what I'm doing. I am entering these things, correct? I'm entering this because I'm a manual tester. I'm entering John Smith and I am entering this J Smith and all that, and I would be entering some password and I would come back and re-enter that password, and my cell phone number, let's say I would enter as 973-555-1212 and 973-555-1313, and some instruction is this is a test from Selenium class, something like that, right? Okay, now, whatever I have not clicked on submit yet, but just think about it. Just think about it for a second. Software testing is automating this process. What process? The process of coming to this page and entering all this information. So I, as a human being, I entered the first name, I entered the last name, I entered the email, I entered password, verify password, phone number, all this I entered. And eventually I would be going and clicking it, right? Now, if I have to do the testing, and if my manager says that, hey, I want you to go and then test with different sets of data and go and then break it, right? Go and break it, right? Do whatever it takes so that we can say that, if I put the name as whatever, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And just go with one more, longest name. At some point, this should not work. So what is that some point where this would fail? Probably if I enter the phone numbers as alphabets, right? Because somebody's cell phone number, or home phone number, cell phone number, thank God, it's still numbers, right? But let's say the instructions. I mean, somebody would put in some small, limited characters in here, but somebody could be writing a whole story in here. So if you enter like, okay, I'm going to be a student of this Selenium class, and I will not be able to attend the live sessions. I want to come watch only videos, and I want to do, so some instructions, they're writing some notes in here. So if you keep writing and up to a point where it cannot take it anymore, it will maybe bomb or it will kind of like crash. So we have to try this with the different sets of data, right? So this combination of what we are entering in here. So manually, if I come and if I keep entering it, how long did it take for me to enter this information? Probably the whole thing, it took me maybe 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes. Now that's fine because this is my first time I'm doing it, let's say, at this hour. So I'm fresh, I came like 9 in the morning, let's say. This is 9 o'clock in the morning, let's say, or 8:30 a.m., let's say. So this is my first record, that's fine. So after 2 minutes, I'm going to enter it one more time with different sets of data, then one more time, then one more time. So there will be a time when I manually, as a human being, I will get kind of like, fed up or bored, or there's a chance of me making a mistake here. I might not be able to take the data which is given to me. I might be putting something more or something less. So chances of me producing the correctness in my test would keep going down with more and more and more of manual way of entering the data. So we have to go and then we have to actually create a script, automation script, so that we could automate it. So we have to write some code where Selenium will come and enter John for me. Selenium will come and enter Smith for me. So now the question is, you are thinking, who the heck is this Selenium, right? Is he some robot? Is he what is Selenium? The question is, what the heck is Selenium? That's what is coming to your mind, right? So for now, I am not going to give you a technical definition of what Selenium is. For now, and we gradually would come to a point where we will talk about what exactly is Selenium. But think about Selenium as some program you have to write, which will automate this process. Automate meaning that rather than a human coming and then entering it, so that program will go and then do that. So you might be hearing the word program. So you might be thinking in your head, am I going to become a programmer, right? So the answer is, you are not going to become a programmer. I don't want you to become a programmer, but I want you to know this much of programming, so much of programming that you could do this thing, which is write some small code, write some small program that can perform these tasks. So what is the task here? The task, according to my test case, my task is to make sure that I come in and then enter all this information and click on submit, and it should either take the information or not take the information. So this is one test case we are talking about. The test case here is about new customer. Right? Is this system, is this website, is this web application capable of this functionality? What is the functionality? What is the behavior? The behavior is, can this website add new customers? So with your automation, we should be able to prove, we should be able to make sure that whatever the developer had created this program, he or she did a good job, because it is able to do this task, or it is able to fulfill the functionality, that is, it is able to add new customers. So this is one test case, which is new customers, which we have to automate, right? And that automation, how do you automate? We'll come to that. But for now, think that I have to use Selenium, and Selenium will do this job. So think about Selenium as a robot, right? That you will program, you will build, you will program, and that robot would go ahead and then do things for you. All right? So that robot would just be sitting idle there doing nothing without you programming it right. So you cannot say that, this Selenium sucks, man. It doesn't do anything. So it's driven by you as an automation tester. So if you write the program in a right way, in the correct way, then it will do that job. So first of all, you have to understand what you have to do. So what you have to do, you have to automate test cases. What type of test cases depends on the application that you are testing. What usually would be the things that you would be doing? The behavior of that application. What would be the behavior of this application? As we just mentioned here, I was just showing you the behavior of the application is over here. Notice there are 3 test cases right here. One test case is to enter to log in. So whether I am successfully able to log in or not. So that is one test case. With that we have to automate. The second test case is this a new member or not? So is this a new member? We just noticed that, okay, this by doing this is a new customer. So login is a test case. New customer is a test case. The third test case over here, as we notice here, is retrieving a lost password or a forgotten password. That's another test case. So we have so many test cases. Now this is because of this site, of this TrainingRite. Now let's say if you go to a banking application, the Bank of America, or if you go to, let's say, any banking application, I don't have to name names. Like you take Wachovia, you take Wells Fargo, you take Citibank, you take whatever it is, right? Basically, it's the same thing. What do people do in a banking application? They open accounts. So they will, when the developer had created that portal or that site for that banking application, one of them would be new customer. So you have to, if you do online banking, you know what it is. You just have to become a member of that, right? So you would be entering probably your account number, your social security number, your right? So that test data you have to prepare and automate that, all right? How do you automate? You create a script using Selenium, right? Okay, now that you have some idea about it, right? Judy, you can do that. If you want, you can do that. We started about 8:05, but we have not even started because you're just talking right now. I mean, you know, we have not actually started. So there's nothing that we have done so far. We're just chit-chatting, talking. So okay, I see some hands. So Vandana, I don't know if you have a question. If you have a question, I will unmute you and you go ahead and talk to me. What is bothering you? Go ahead. I have unmuted you. So go. I saw your hand raised, so I just unmuted you. So if you don't have any question, then I will mute you back. Let's see. Okay. Ulfa, you have a question. I see your hand raised. So if you have a question, I will unmute you. Go.
Please don't unmute me. I don't have any question. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Okay. Okay. Judy, I don't know if you have a question. If you have a question, I will unmute you. Do you have a question? Probably not. Okay. All right. So now that we have seen that we know basically what kind of test cases you have, and so the thing is, we will be going and automating the test cases. Now, what happens is like, oops, sorry, wrong one. Like QTP, Selenium is basically a way of automating your test cases. So QTP is a tool, correct? You will download QTP from HP, you will install it, and then you would create some test cases and all that. With Selenium, it is kind of same but different. Now you would say, how is it same and different? Well, same in the sense that when you write scripts in QTP, you would be writing scripts using Visual Basic VB script and all that. Here also you will be writing some script, right? In Selenium too, you will be writing some scripts, and the scripts you will be writing, it will be using Java language. Now, many a times the word Java is like, it scares the hell out of people. It's like, oh my God, I mean, I have absolutely no clue of Java. how am I going to learn Selenium? Let me tell you this, right? Believe it or not, and I want you to believe, right? When I say that learning Selenium is much more easier than learning QTP. Now you would say, well, I don't know if I want to agree with that. Well, the reason I say that is because number one, there are just 5 things that you have to know. And trust me, there are just 5 things you have to know. If you can make up your mind, and if you say that, okay, I'm going to learn those 5 things, and I'll make sure that I will be able to write these scripts. When you learn those 5 things, right? And I'll come to what those 5 things are in a minute. When you do those 5 things, that will be the foundation for you to get into software testing, and then you could be going and testing any application using any language, because these 5 things are literally going to be acting as the foundation for your future testing in any language. Now, what those 5 things are, basically, first of all, you have to understand that any time you're doing automation, whether QTP, whether Selenium, whether whatever it is, right? So you have to be learning as how to write the code, right? So you have to know as how to write the code. Now, when you are saying code means some program, right? So in order to write a program, you need to learn a programming language, right? Now, this programming language, bear with me. I mean, I am very, my handwriting is very bad, but I hope you're able to get what I'm saying here. So you have to learn a programming language. Depending on the tool which you are using, let's say you're using QTP, that programming language would be VBScript, right? If you're using, let's say, Selenium, that programming language is majority of the times is going to be Java. If you are doing something else, now I'm not even gonna go there, so we'll just keep these 2 and then talk a little bit more about these 2, and then hopefully in future we'll go and talk about some other stuff. Over here, if you have to create some code, if you have to write a program, and in QTP you will be using VBScript, in Selenium you will be using Java. The good thing about QTP is you can download and install on your machine, and just the QTP, and that's it. You don't have to worry about anything more than that. In Selenium, things are slightly different. Why it is different? Because in QTP you would be paying about $10,000 to download one seat license of QTP. So before even you do anything, you would have spent almost about like $10,000-12,000, because you have to buy that QTP and install it. Selenium you are not buying, because the big thing is it is free. Now, many times I have noticed that, and in my own family I can tell you this, that the way they judge if something is of better quality, let's say if we go out and then if we are buying something, whatever it is, right? If you're buying something, if the price is high for an item, automatically they think that there is better quality of that. So I'm not going to take names, but I have some people in my family, they're not even going to look into the lower end stuff, because they will just make a judgment call on that, saying that no, those things, they don't have proper quality, it's not of good quality, and then they run towards like the expensive stuff. So if that is the argument and that is how you're going to judge, then Selenium will absolutely have no value at all, because it is free, right? So that is not the case. And all such negative thoughts are put to rest by a company like Google of such huge, big magnitude, right? Implementing, right, embracing Selenium, and then implementing Selenium for the testing of majority of their products. And how Google works. I mean, everywhere you look around, it's like Google, right? Your phone to your web to your everything is Google. So Google is using Selenium, and they have saved significant amount of money, and then they trust in this technology. And with they using Selenium, a lot of other companies are following, and then they also started implementing Selenium. So at this time, as we speak, you would find it kind of like easy to get into Selenium compared to anything else. The only reason for that is there is still a misconception about Selenium being very difficult to learn, right? So not many people are pursuing it. QTP is easy because, you know, you just, that's the perception. That's what people, they think. But if you go to dice.com, if you go to monster.com, you'll find that there are many opportunities for Selenium at this time, right? And those positions are still not getting filled because of the fact that people are not learning Selenium. They cannot find that many people having skills in Selenium. So we will try to change that, at least for 22 of you who are here right now. So we will make sure that we learn enough of Selenium that almost every one of you should be able to get a job in Selenium, fast forward 4 weeks, 6 weeks from today, right? Now, you guys probably are going to be my 27th or 28th batch of Selenium that I would, this is probably 28th batch. 27 batches I had done. And on average, let's say if you have like 15 people, so 15 times 25, you do the math, maybe 400 or 500 people we would have trained in Selenium. About 60 to 70% of them, they are getting opportunities, right? Some get before even the end of the course, they get jobs in Selenium. Some might take like a little more effort, but eventually people are getting there. Now, you would go ahead and then ask me, like, how come 70%? What happened to the other 30%? Why they are not getting that job? Will I be in that 70%? Will I be in that 30%? Now, there's an easy way for you to find out where you would belong. And here is the measure of your success or failure, right? I'm giving you a tool here to measure yourself. The tool is assignments, submitting assignments. If you find yourself submitting the assignments, think that you would be in that 70%. And I want to guarantee you that you would get that job if you find yourself submitting the assignments, you know, on time, every time. If you have a reason that dog one more time had, you know, eaten your assignment, well, you know where to put yourself. 70-30, that's up to you. So please don't try to you know, fool yourself, or don't try to come up with any reason that is a reason for you not to do the assignment. Do your assignments. Okay. So today, I will lay out the plot. I will tell you where we are going, what we are doing, and then eventually, in the remaining 7 sessions, we will get there. The goal here is to learn enough of scripting so that we can do what? We can create a framework, because that is exactly what is asked of you. When you, let's one more time fast forward 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Everything done, you have submitted your assignments. Next thing is come up with a good resume, or if you already have a you know, job, if you're looking for a different job, then we will help you a little bit with how you should come up with the resume, and then you float your resume out. Of course, with the content that you would be putting in the resume, you will start getting some phone calls, and this is what would happen when you go out for the interview, right? You're sitting there, and across the table are 3-4 guys or girls who basically are ready to pounce on you and then ask you questions on Selenium. So this is how the interview, one of the questions in the interview that will go. The first 5 minutes, this is basically coming at you. They're going to be looking at your resume. They'll be pretty impressive with your resume because you would have given, you know, created a good resume. So now one of the questions that is going to come at you is, talk to us a little bit about your past project, right? What did you do in the previous project, right? They might not shoot straight at you asking you like, what exactly, is the difference between a JUnit or a TestNG framework? They might not come with such a straight question. They might kind of like ask you like, why had you used JUnit or TestNG or vice versa, right? And why would you rate one better over the other? What were the aha moments, or what were the most challenging moments when you were doing, this testing in your previous project? So preparing for the job is not just doing your assignments, but also being able to come up with certain things which you should be able to share during your interview. So they would be definitely be putting you into a situation where they would be asking you like giving you a scenario and then asking you like, how would you do it? So if you do the assignments, again, I'm repeating myself, but this would be the last time I would say it. If you do the assignments, you would have faced such situations right here during the training, and it would prepare you for the real stuff. All right. Okay. The class starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It ends at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 8:05 actually is when the class will start. If there's a question like, if we cannot do our assignments, are you going to help us? That's an interesting question. The answer is here. Here is the answer. Basically, what you do is, if you are unable to do the assignment, you should exhaust all the options before you ask me for a solution. All right? I mean, of course, I will help you, but don't use me as your first stop. Right? So basically, what you do is you will start to put in some effort on your own, and if you find yourself getting stuck, then we will make you a member of these forums. So go to your forum. The forum is, let's say, TrainingRite, this forum, Selenium. So here, say for instance, look at this. This is, when I click on that, this guy, he posts this question. I put the code like this, and the result is that, right? So he would have done some work, and then he came back and he found this, and then you are looking at it, you're like, oh boy, are we good? I cannot understand even a single letter of this. Guess what? This person, right? Not to put this person down, but this person, when he started, probably he had absolutely the same experience like what you have, meaning zero experience with Selenium. And eventually, in 8 classes, you will come to a point that you would be able to not only understand that what's going on, you would be able to very intelligently post this question. And as you can see, some guy is coming back and responding to it. It says that, okay, go into the options, go there, right? So ask that question, wait for some response. If the response doesn't come, then I will get in, and then I'll give you the response within 24 hours, right? So I don't want to be right there, at your service when you ask that question, because I want you to go through some real life, situations where you get stuck. What do you do, right? So things like that. Try to explore on your own. So exhaust all your options before you come to me. All right? Okay, that should be the case. Now, will we get any help to prepare the interview question? Yes, I will give you some interview questions, and during these 8 sessions, you will find what we cover during these sessions. That itself will give you so much of ammunition for that interview that you would be going there, and then you would be literally killing your interviewers with your knowledge, right? So you would get that kind of knowledge in this. I assure you. Just, can you get the recorded session? Sure, you can get the recorded session. You can do that. Yeah. Vandana is posting this question, and I have to read it out loud so that I get a response from everyone. She says, I have a delay in this webinar. Is this related to my laptop, or everyone is experiencing this, right? So are you guys able to hear? Okay, so at least I have a couple of responses that not a problem with me. No, everything is good. So we can hear okay. So all right. So it seems like, Vandana, what you do is, and I'll tell you what happens. This is an online class, right? So I'm coming to you through the internet. Now, depending on how fast your internet connection is, or whether you are connected through wireless, and if your son or your daughter or your husband is watching Netflix on their tablets or on their phone, I mean, so you are kind of like, they doing this at this time would be eating away the bandwidth. So my session would become choppy at that time. So you would feel that delay or what. So a couple of solutions to that problem. If somebody else is using this for this next 2 hours, tell them, hey, watch, non-internet stuff. Go and watch TV or do something, right? And then you try to log out and come back in, and that should fix the problem. If I want to focus on 1 or 2 automated software testing tools, which one are important, marketable? Okay, Daryl, that's a good question. If you want to focus on 1 or 2, I would say that QTP is something good to have, right? The only reason for that is QTP has been around for a while. So it's kind of like expected out of you, because it's like, hey, how come you don't know QTP if you're an automation tester? So that's how it is. It's supposed to be like everyone is supposed to know QTP. So from that perspective, you got to learn QTP. But in order to get a job, it is easier to get a job in Selenium compared to QTP. The reason for that is, if there is a QTP opportunity out there, probably there are like, I'm not exaggerating, there would be at least 10 people, minimum of 10 people applying for the job. So now you got to make sure that you beat all those 9 fellows for you to get the job, right? Now, compared to Selenium, probably in Selenium, 4 or 5 people, or probably like 3 people are applying for that job, because not many people know, because they are afraid. They shy away from learning Selenium. So you have little competition in Selenium because you have very few people applying for it, and I can assure you that the content that you would be learning as a part of this course would be quite sufficient for you to impress the people who are going to hire you. Provided, here I go again, you do those assignments, complete those assignments, right? As we go further in this course, I will show you the certain tricks of the trade when it comes to like taking interview, right? Taking meaning that participating that interview and coming out as a winner. So how you have to not allow them to corner you, and how to get out of certain uncomfortable situations. I will be sharing with you all such information, and I will be giving you certain tips as how to take a phone interview versus how to take a real life in-person interview. All right. So all that we're going to be talking about as we progress in this course. So let's get going. So keep let your questions keep coming. I will be, if I don't answer right away and right there and then, I will finish my thought and then come back and then answer that question, right? But I will do that. Yeah, Suresh, if you are a monthly subscriber goes by the dates. So you have 30 days, and wherever we are in the 30 days. Let's say you start today and you have 30 days, and within 30 days, if you finish this, then you get the whole course. If you don't finish it, then you don't get the whole course. So that's the catch of going with the monthly subscription. All right. So there is an I mean, I don't want to use this to pitch anything, but I would say that this is for fast learners, right? Meaning that monthly subscription, this is $99, right? So here is the complete explanation of how this works. Basically, if you are going with one new course, right? You are taking the live training plus videos for 30 days. So the activation fee is $199 and plus 99. So for those of you folks who have paid $349, you could have gotten this course for $298. Well, you would say big deal. I mean, in this case, I would say the winners are the people who took it as a single course, because they paid $349 and then they are getting the videos for 1 year, right? But here is something that you would like. Look at this one. 2 courses. If you pay $398, you get 2 courses for 30 days. So if you are going with SOAP UI is $399, and you are going with Selenium, that's $349. So right there, $748. You are getting it for $398. Very good deal, right? And if you go down further, for $498, you are getting 3 courses. So as you buy more, you get better and better deals with it. So look into it. Go for something which is more suitable for you, right? So I don't want to make this session as a sales for this one, but you can call me at a later time to discuss about it. But with monthly subscription, the more you buy, the better it is, and you get to finish more courses very quickly. So that's the deal. So if you can keep yourself on your toes, then that's the one you should be going for it. Okay, so let's come back. So we were discussing about if you have any questions, am I going to help you? So that was that. People like they have questions how to convert Excel into that, right? So this is a question somebody had asked. I am automating a website through Selenium WebDriver for and I need to get a phone number, cell phone number, and when I put, so there's a question here, and somebody is getting, and then Nita is answering that question. She says, hey, buddy, do this, and then he comes back and she says, do that, do that, do that, do that. So, there's a thread which is going on, and then, so you get a lot of interaction here, right? So, okay, that's it. Let's go here. So let's talk about the test cases. So if you are a manual tester, excuse me, if you are a manual tester, how many test cases do you have to test? Well, do you agree with me that it depends from company to company, right? It depends. So it all depends like where you go, what company you join and all that. So there are places where you have high stress. What do you mean by high stress? Meaning that they expect you to come and then come up with a magic wand and then do stuff quickly, right? So and then they reward you according to it. So the going rate for those kind of jobs right now is somewhere around like $65 to $75 per hour, right? Again, I'm not going to take names, but I have some students who are making that kind of money. They're making about $72 per hour. Of course, in Manhattan area, New York, or very close to New York City. They're making that kind of. But it's a stressful job. You go 7 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning. You go. You take a bus. You go to Manhattan. You sit all day there, and then so. I mean, I don't know if you want to be in that group, but at the same time, don't undersell yourself, meaning that if you know Selenium, what you would be knowing as a part of this course, don't agree or don't go for jobs where they would be paying you $30, because that's not what you are learning Selenium for. You are learning Selenium, and you would learn it in such a way that you should demand at least a minimum of 40, somewhere between 40 and $60. More, I mean, if you're not too comfortable, if you're not too confident of what you know, then probably on the $40 side. If you're too confident of what you know, if you do the framework designing, and if you have done some at least 2 or 3 application testing, if you have done, then you could literally demand somewhere around like $52, right? Again, the many conditions, many factors that will come into play when it comes to like what kind of expectations you have, and whether you would get to it or not. Because what if you're in Montana? I mean, why would somebody pay you $65 if you're in Montana? Now, given the fact that you would be the only automation tester in Montana, so that way they have to pay you. But I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, it depends, like, where you are, what the situation is, how desperate the company is. I mean, things like that. So don't go for the money, at least in the beginning. In the beginning, learn it good, right? Make a career, right, out of it. And I can tell you, you would be very, very, very happy with what you are getting into. And down the road, I want you, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you take these courses from us or go and take it from someplace else, but things like this, particularly, your Selenium, SOAP UI, right? And slowly but surely, this Ruby Water, right? That's also coming up. Cucumber is coming up, right? But unless you have done all of these other courses, I don't want to take you into this course, because this is more like a little bit of an advanced course, and that is the reason we have priced it, quite expensive. This course is because of the fact that we are covering so many things in there. There you would be learning things like Ruby and all that, right? Cucumber and RSpec and all that. So unless you have done these courses like SOAP UI, Selenium and all that, you are not ready for this Ruby, Water, Cucumber, RSpec, Capybara course. But that's also something that is much in demand, and particularly in Ohio, there are many companies looking for it. And if you go to DICE or if you go to Monster and then do a search on that, you would come to know. So Selenium is a very, very good thing to know. Okay, with that said, come on, let's get started. Okay, test cases. All right, so we will be doing most of the automation courses I teach. Some of the other automation courses are like QTP is taught by another trainer, but I used to teach QTP, but these days I don't have time. So that's being taught by another trainer, and Load Runner I used to teach, that's being taught by another trainer. But majority of the functional testing tools I teach. So SOAP UI, yes, you'll find me teaching SOAP UI if you come to a class taking SOAP UI. All right, let's get going. Do you think if I take Selenium and QTP in same month, will it be harder for me? Well, Bina, it all depends, person to person. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. If you ask my mother would say that it's a bad thing, but to me, it's an okay thing. What I'm talking about is me not being able to sleep more than 4 or 4.5 or 5 hours the most, right? Now, it all depends on an individual to individual, right? So I can take it, right? I can take it, so I sleep like 5 hours a day, sometimes less than that, right? Some people can't. So can you take 2 courses at the same time? Well, maybe yes, maybe not. So how can we figure out whether you can take it? This is how you should be able to figure it out. Every course, like you're taking Selenium, it will be 2 classes in a week, correct? So 2 classes of Selenium and 2 classes of some other course, whether you're taking QTP, whether you're taking whatever. So you have to able to attend those classes, and you have to be able to do the assignments for those classes. So if you think that you can manage that, then go ahead, do it, right? If you are free, if your mother-in-law is not visiting you, I mean, we coming from the culture, subcontinent, Indian subcontinent culture, I mean, you know, we have to take care of our mother-in-law, our father-in-law when they visit here. We have to focus on them as well. So if that's the case, then don't take it. If you don't have any other commitments, if you don't have to take your daughter or son to their ball game, to the dancing class, then go ahead, take it, right? So I don't know your situation, so I cannot. But if you can spend for each course 10 hours in a week, right? In a week, there are so many hours in a week, 24 hours in a day times 7. I cannot even do the math, so that's 170 hours. Out of 170 hours, if you can give like 10 hours for one course, you're good to go. You can take 2 courses. All right. Okay. With that said, let's do some Selenium. So in Selenium, the most important thing is the ability to automate the test cases. And you know what test cases are. Very briefly, this logging in would be a test case, right? So this is a test case. Creating a new customer is a test case. If I take you to this site, let's say, and it could be anyone. If I take you to Amazon.com, right? Here, creating a new account is a new account, right? So new account, that is a test case. So if you have been hired by Amazon.com to do the testing, automation testing using Selenium for their site, and if they are coming up with the new version of their site, and in the new version of their site, they have this new customer. So you should be able to do what? You should be able to automate it. So in automation of any test case, what is that you have to do? Think about it. Think about it for a second. As a human, you come in here and you enter things, right? You enter in here, my name is that. So I am going to enter that, right? Now, this is manual testing. So what you have to do, you have to write some script. You have to write some code so that you tell Selenium, hey, Selenium, my friend Selenium, I want you to go and do this. Do what? Enter this. And then after you finish entering that, Selenium, I want you to go and then enter something here. And then enter that, and then enter that, and then come and then click on that. So basically, that code that you are going to create as a part of that script is nothing but performing these actions. Action like what? Type in this text box, right? Type in this text box, click on this button, click on this button. So things like that. So believe it or not, Selenium can be very easy, very easy. Trust me, can be very easy. You just need to get the idea. Get the idea. Now, if you tell me to go and bake a cake, right? I am 43 years old right now, right? But I can tell you, I cannot bake a cake because I have never done that. If you tell me to drive from here to Washington, D.C., I would not even think twice. I'd just, wear my jacket, sit in the car, and then drive, right? So likewise, if I tell you to go and create an automation script for this, it's like baking a cake for you. You're like, how can I do that? I've never done this in my life. If you have never done something in your life, it is going to be very challenging. However interesting that is, right? But, I mean, I don't want to get into some interesting stuff which you wanted to do, but you had not done it. And if you're doing it for the very first time, you were sweating, right? You wanted to do it, but then you are like, oh, I don't know whether I can do it or not, right? Whatever it is, right? So you fill in the blank. So in this case, we are not filling in the blank. We are saying that we have to learn Selenium. This is the first time, so you are like, kind of like nervous, right? You're nervous. You are like, I don't know whether I can do it. But I'm telling you, it's like driving a car, literally driving a car. Are you nervous driving a car? Some of you, maybe one of these 22 people probably is nervous driving a car. But he or she would eventually drive that. Out of these 22 people, probably 20 people are nervous about learning the Selenium. But guess what? Fast forward this 4 weeks, you would be whistling, you would be singing, you would be doing everything of Selenium at that time, because it is that easy. It's not like taking you to Mars and dropping you there that you are scared that you can never, come back alive. Selenium is something silly, simple, very easy. All right. I want you to have a positive energy. I can do it. I will do it. I will become a master of it. And trust me, you will. Okay. With that said, let us get started and do some Selenium. How can I write this code? He keeps telling me about writing this code. Where should I start? What should I do? Should I go to Notepad? And what should I do? Type the code in English? What is this code? What am I typing? All right. Okay. So let's get going and let's talk about what you are typing. So before we get in there, you have a question, Ulfat. I will unmute you. Yes. Go ahead. I have unmuted you.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my question. Sorry about that time. I really don't know why my hand always shows like up. I put it down, but I have a question. At the very beginning, you were saying something about there is 5 things that we have to master to be a successful Selenium automation test engineer. Number 1, you stated that about learning a programming language, which I got. But what are the remaining 4 things? I don't think I clearly heard the remaining 4 things that also I need to pay attention to or master. Thank you.
So didn't we make it a little interesting now that we have not given out those 4 other things? Now, one of the reasons I will tell you I did not give it out is because today, being the first class, we have some people who are auditing who have not decided whether they're going to jump onto this ship or not, right? So we're going to keep it a little secret, and then we will talk about it. We'll disclose that on the second class. How about that, right? So I want you to just, keep it. We want to keep it rather interesting till we get to the second class. So I promise you that I would disclose those things in the second class. Fair enough?
Yes, no problem. But I am keeping notes, and I will come back to you if you don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's, I'm happy that you're keeping tabs, right? You're taking some notes. That's very interesting. All right. So coming back to this test cases. So you might be wondering, like, how am I going to write those test cases and all that? So we will talk very briefly about when you are doing Selenium, right? The way I will be doing this course is I'm not going to have any PowerPoint slides. I'm not going to read from some notes. I mean, unfortunately, this is my personal opinion about it. I find such things as uninteresting, at least to me, when I do that. So unless and until I have a solid reason for doing it, I refrain myself from such activities. So please excuse me for not using the PowerPoint or things like that. But you should not. We don't want to cut corners. We don't want to do anything that will take away something from you. So what I'm going to do is I will at least show you that we give out some of those notes. So you should be finding things here in the Google Docs. So as an example, I will show you when I'm dealing with AND, let's say. These are some step-by-step instructions, right? So I'll tell you what this AND is, and then and as you can read, I don't want to read it, but this document will be with you. So this will tell you step by step what to do. So configuration of AND. Now at this time you would say, what is AND? So I don't want to get into what is AND, but as you can see, there's a step-by-step instruction. Go to the control panel, go to System, Advanced tab, click on the environment variables, And I'm also giving you some warnings like please be careful using these variables because these are system variables. You might screw up your system, things like that. Then it's like step-by-step instructions as what you're supposed to do, right? And things like that. But I don't prefer reading it from PowerPoint or things like that. So what I try to do is I try to draw things and I try to do it the way I feel a little comfortable doing it. But that should not take away anything from you. So if you have any questions anytime, let them come. So Selenium, to begin with, think about it as your pet, right? Now, if you want to show off your pet to somebody, if you train the pet, if you tell the pet to lift its paws, and if it does that, now you feel like very good because it's listening to you. It's performing what you tell it to do, right? Now, Selenium is not necessarily your pet, but it's going to be your bread and butter, meaning that it will bring dollars to you, to your house, right? So it will put food on your table. So you better learn it so that you could instruct it so that it can do anything and everything that you want it to do, right? So how do you tell Selenium to do things? You know what to do. I mean, you're not going to tell Selenium to, climb up the tree and then plug some mangoes or oranges and throw it to you, right? That's a monkey's job. That's not, Selenium. Selenium job is to perform automation testing. So it will be performing automation testing for what? For some applications, right? So you are testing applications. Now in real life, you find today that we have applications. Those are client server applications. There are web applications, something that runs in a browser. And then there are mobile applications, right? Now, I don't have to tell you mobile applications are extremely becoming popular these days, and by the year 2016, you would find your refrigerators talking, going on the internet and ordering milk, and then anything. I mean, think about it. My car has so many gadgets in it, and I am a computer guy. I cannot keep up. I give up because I don't have that patience to talk to my car because it can literally do anything or many things rather, right? So these things are getting intelligent day by day, right? So if your refrigerator is not talking to Pathmark or to A&P or to any of your grocery store wherever you live, then it's not far that it will begin to do that. So maybe at that time we will be doing the testing for that, I don't know. But today, as we speak in the year 2014, Selenium is used for web application testing. And it is also used for mobile application testing. Unfortunately, in this course, I will not be teaching you mobile application. If you really want to do that, come to my mobile app testing class, right? That's where you will find me doing some Selenium and all that. Or you can even take the Ruby and Cucumber class. There also I will show a little bit of mobile app testing. But in this, we are not doing it. We are totally focusing on a browser testing. So browsers, you all have been using browser all your life for the past 10 years, right? So different browsers. We have Internet Explorer, we have Google Chrome, we have, Firefox, we have, so we will be doing a testing on all of these different browsers. Testing is what asking Selenium, so asking Selenium to go and perform, like entering some usernames, password, clicking on the button. That's all I have to do, right? But I have to do it on different browsers. I have to do it on Firefox, Google, and all that. That's what we will be doing. We will be using Selenium. I will be testing applications. Those are web applications that run in a browser. So we can be testing applications that run in any of these browsers. All right? Okay. Using Selenium, we said. Now, in Selenium, there are basically, think about it, there are three different versions of Selenium. There is something called IDE, there is something called RC, and there is something called WebDriver. Okay. Now, these are three different versions or forms of Selenium, all three does the testing. Testing of what? Of the web application. Even with IDE we do that, even with RC we do that, even with WebDriver we do that. All right? Okay, now you would say that what is the difference between these three? Now, if I start talking about the difference between these three without even knowing any one of them, what good is it going to do? It's not going to do any good to you or to me, right? Because I will be spending time talking about things that it's better because it can do this or that, and then I would just be trying to show off something because I'm using some buzzwords which you will not be able to understand. So when the time is right, we will be talking about the major differences between the three. As of now, we have to take one of the three and get started, right? Even though our focus of the course is going to be this WebDriver, today I'm going to take IDE. So what is IDE? Think of IDE as it's one version or one form of Selenium, and it is going to help us do the automation testing of the web applications. Make sense? Okay. Now the good thing about IDE is IDE, right, helps you do things like recording. You don't even have to write any code. You can do the recording of the scripts, and then without knowing any programming, you can do the testing. Now there are some drawbacks of IDE, right, which we'll talk about. One of the major drawback of IDE is, unfortunately, using IDE you cannot be testing. Even though we said that you can be testing using Selenium, you could be testing all these browsers, Internet Explorer, Google, Firefox, and all that. Unfortunately, you cannot be testing IE, you cannot be testing Google or any browser except Firefox. So what does that tell you about IDE? Using Selenium IDE, you can perform automation testing only on the Firefox browser, right? So that is a major drawback. But in the real world, you will find very, very experienced Selenium testers, automation testers, even somebody who has got about, like, let's say 20 years of overall experience, right, of testing and all that. They would still be using IDE. Now you would say, why they would be using when you cannot do the testing for IE and Google and all that? Because using IDE, there is a way of generating the code, right? You don't even have to write a single line of code. All that code would be, generated automatically for you, and then you can take the code, you can copy paste the code, and with that you should be able to run in any one of the other browsers. So when the time is right, I'm going to be showing you all that. When the time is right, definitely I'm going to be showing you all that, right? Right now, we will get started so that by the time we are done in another half an hour, you should be able to at least know this much of Selenium, that you can say that, okay, I know what Selenium is. Selenium is a testing tool that can help me do the application testing for the web applications, and Selenium has IDE, RC Server, and WebDriver. WebDriver is the latest and the greatest, but as of now, we are learning IDE, and using IDE, I can go and I can record my script, and then I can run my script, and then very soon, I don't know yet, but very soon I will learn a way to generate automatically the code, which my trainer, my guy, he promises that he will teach me, and then using that, I don't even have to write a single line of code, and I can take that code and run it on any of the browsers like Internet Explorer, Google, and Firefox. So Selenium IDE is very important for you. At the same time, it is not able to test anything more than Firefox. But there are tricks that you have to learn, and that's exactly what we will be discussing in our future classes. I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks and all this as how to make things happen. Okay, as of now, let's use Selenium IDE. Where do I get Selenium IDE from, right? What is Selenium IDE? Where do I get it and all that? Okay, what do you do is you bring it up. Today is the time of the internet. Everything you can get on the internet by going to Google. So go to Google and say, hey Google, please help me download. Help me download. Download what? Help me download. Selenium, right? IDE. So you are saying, Google, can you help me download Selenium IDE? Very soon you will talk to it, right? I mean, right now we are typing. Very soon that Google Glass is coming up. So we all will be zombies at that time wearing those glasses, and Google download, Google that, right? And it will do everything, whatever you want. So look where the technology is going, right? So anyways, let's not get into that. Let's do some Selenium first. Okay, so when you do that, there are multiple links over here, right, for you to download, Selenium IDE. Now, many a times when somebody says download, I'm under the impression that I have to download. That means that it might take like 5 minutes or maybe 20 minutes, depending on how big of a file that is, right? So let's see what it is. First of all, when I click on that, it will take me to a link here, right? It will take me to a site. This happens to be the Bible for your Selenium learning. So from this website, you can learn anything and everything about Selenium. All right. So we are here in the download tab, and as you can see, it helps you download Selenium IDE, and very soon Selenium RC Server will come back, and then the WebDriver. So we will be coming back here again and again to download different things. Today, my focus is just the Selenium IDE. That's my focus. I'm not going to look at RC Server, not going to look at WebDriver, no nothing, right? My focus is IDE. So even though I am not a big fan of reading things, but I want to read this line. I want to read this line. This says that Selenium IDE is a Firefox plugin. Right here, they are telling you that this will work only with Firefox, right? It's a Firefox plugin which records and plays back the user interactions with the browser. Meaning that it's a Selenium, the definition of a Selenium is it's a Firefox plugin, and it can help you record and play back your interactions with the browser. That's what it is. So fortunately, unfortunately for us, it works only with Firefox, right? As of now, it works with only Firefox. So you have to come here to this website with Firefox. That brings me to the very first requirement of this course. That is, you should have on your machine a browser, Firefox browser installed, right? Now, we blindly go with Internet Explorer because that is what comes with the machine when you buy it. Internet Explorer comes out of the box. For any other browser, you have to go and download. There was a time, there was a bitter war going on, I remember in the year 95, 96, between Netscape and Internet Explorer, right? So today, you don't have a Netscape, you have 100 different, not 100 different, at least many different browsers. So you have Google, you have Opera, you have, of course, Internet Explorer, you have Apple Safari. So if you see on my machine, I have a majority of the browsers. I mean, if not for all, at least you should have Firefox browser downloaded, right? So if you don't have Firefox, make sure that you download Firefox, and using Firefox, come to this, go to Google and say Selenium download IDE. It brings you to this, and once you come here, now this is what we're going to be doing. Download what? The latest version of Selenium IDE. And what is the latest version of Selenium IDE? 2.5.0. Now download, at least to me, is something which tells me that might take like long time. But because of the fact that it's a plugin, this download would literally take a blink of an eye, right? So when I click on that, right here it says that, okay, I clicked on that and it comes back, says that, hey, Firefox is preventing this site from installing this software. Do you want to allow it? I would say, yeah, I want to allow it because I know what I'm downloading. So click on allow, and again, within a second, there it is, right? It's almost downloaded because it's coming back and it's asking you, hey, in that software, these are the things, do you want to download this? Now, if you blindly would believe me, I would say just go ahead and install. But if you ask me, what is that it is trying to do? Then I would say that Selenium is a very flexible tool. It is not as rigid as QTP, where QTP says that I can only work if you code in Visual Basic Script. Selenium says that welcome, to anybody. If you are a Ruby guy, it says, okay, write the code in Ruby. If you're a Python guy, we can write the code in Python. If you're a C#.NET, then you could do that. If you are a Java, you could do it in Java. So it basically allows all of them. Now you would say, how come you're teaching us Java and not C# and Python and Perl and all this? Now I would say, if you go out on the street, right, chances are not every second car is a Rolls Royce. It's not, right? It's a special case, very few people, right? So, but the common cars out there are Japanese cars or these American cars and all that. So the common language that is used for Selenium is Java. So that is the reason I am showing you in Java, right? So now we will go ahead and then we will say that, okay, we want to go ahead and then we want to install all. So I will say install all, and then again, I was explaining you, but it won't take more than a second. So everything is done. So now it comes back and says restart. It's not restarting your machine. It is going to restart the browser. So let's say restart now. So I'm going to click on that. Everything kind of like goes down, and then it will come back up, and then it's restarted. There's a question by Vandana. What if the application is designed only for Internet Explorer browser purposefully, and how can we use Selenium tool in that case? Absolutely. I'll be showing you. In fact, I mean, we cannot have any reason saying that I can do the testing only in Firefox. Selenium can do testing in everything. Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Firefox, everything. So using IDE, you cannot do it in Internet Explorer. But IDE, you will find me starting today, and in the next 20 minutes, I'll be done with IDE. Probably, very rarely I will come back to IDE, or maybe, depending on how far we go today, I might come back for about, 10 minutes or 15 minutes in the next class. But that is it as far as IDE is concerned, right? But the rest of the stuff, we will not be using IDE. We'll be using WebDriver for that. So WebDriver is capable of doing the testing for Internet Explorer or Firefox or Google Chrome and all that, all right? But the restriction or the drawback of IDE is it can do only testing for, because it's a record and play tool, so it can do only recording and playing of that in the Firefox. So it cannot do it on the Internet Explorer. So that is why we have to write our script in RC Server or WebDriver. RC Server, we could have written our code in RC Server, but it's like a yesterday's technology. So you don't want to get into yesterday's stuff. You want to get into today's and tomorrow's stuff. So that's why we'll get into WebDriver. All right. So that's about that. Ulfat brings up a very interesting point, and that is IDE cannot do any conditional logic, right? So now you would say, what is conditional logic? What is she talking about, right? Conditional logic, we will spend a lot of time discussing about what is conditional logic. Conditional logic, very briefly, is the ability to make the tool think if this is the case, if this is true, if it is Internet Explorer browser, then do this, else do that. So is the conditional logic is the ability to use if-else statements, do some looping, like do the same test like 20 times. So all that stuff, the logic and the programming is not there in the IDE, right? So for that, we have to get into the WebDriver and RC server. Okay, so let us do some IDE. So did I download and did I install IDE? That's the question. The answer is, I would say yes, we already did that. Where did you do it? I did not even see it. I said, didn't we go here and didn't we do Selenium download IDE, something like that, right? Selenium IDE. So when you click on that, you come in here, and I did that. I came in and I clicked on that, and we are doing it one more time. Allow it, so it comes back. We want to do all this, hold down and say install, and it is going to restart now. So I did it one more time. So yeah, you did it one more time, but where is it? How can I see that it is installed or not? Here it is. What you do is go to tools, go to tools, go to tools as a menu item. Oh, I don't even see that tool on my Firefox. Well, that is because of the fact that this is on the browser. You can right click here and you have to check menu. If you don't see menu, then there is no tools. So you go here, you right click and make sure that the menu bar is displayed. When the menu bar is displayed, click on tools and you would see there something called Selenium IDE. We figured it out as where Selenium IDE is. Let's take a look into Selenium IDE. Click on that, it opens it for you. Now, this is opening and showing you something, and forgive me for doing this to you guys. This is from the previous batch, so I did not put it in the right mode. So this is how it will when you open it for the very first time. When you click on Selenium IDE, this is how it is going to open. This is how it is going to open. Okay, couple of things. I'm going to kind of like expand it so that it is in the expanded mode. It occupies the full screen, and then I can quickly go over and then show you a few things in here. Very quickly, as any other tool, this is a simple tool, very easy to learn, and within minutes you will have a good grip on it. What are the main things you got to look into it? Like if you are using Microsoft Word, right? If you are using Microsoft Word, if you open Microsoft Word for the very first time, then if you are showing it to somebody new, you would say that these are the menu items on the top, right? So if you need to do anything, you got to go in the menu items. Like if you want to insert a table, you click on that, insert a table, and then do this, and it is going to. So that's the menu items for Word. We are not doing Word. We are doing Selenium IDE. So that means that I have to show you something about the menu items of Selenium IDE. So these are the menu items of Selenium IDE. All right. So what do menu items they do? Basically, menu items help you, right, in what? In opening a new, opening an existing test case, saving a test case, exporting some test cases, looking into. So these are the things. So when the time is right, we're going to be looking into all of these things, right? All of these things. But right now, you just know that this is the menu items on the top. Next is this URL, base URL, the application that you want to test. What application do you want to test? Didn't we agree that we want to test an application like Bank of America, let's say, right? Because that's the assignment that's been given to you at work when you joined. You have joined a company called Bank of America. So Bank of America, they are working with some, so you have to go and test that. So their URL, you will be putting it in there. Now, chances are any application that you are testing, it is not necessarily out there for general public, meaning that it will be on the staging servers. It will be like on a pre-production environment. It will be like on a test servers. So they got to give you the URL or the IP address of the server where it will be hosted. Right? Agree? So it is not going to be on the public domain, because once you put something on the URL, that means that it's already created, it's already out there. Now, if something is out there for general public to use, that means that it's already tested, right? So basically, in real life, when you go there, they might give you the address or the URL of the application that you need to test, and that application would be sitting on the staging servers or on the test servers, right? So they will give you the IP address of that, or they might give you the server name or whatever. So that is what you should be going in there. In our case, we will be using something because I have to show it to you. So I will be taking some of these applications and then showing you. All right. So what application are we going to look into? So it doesn't matter what application. We'll take a simple application. So simple application. Why not something to begin with, like something like TrainingRite.net, right? So we can take that application. What do I need to do on that application? I need to test. If I go to that application, I need to test. Agree that I need to test this functionality, the login functionality, this functionality, right? Okay, so if you come back here, right? Now there are certain areas that we will be focusing. This area I would be focusing when I have to run a test case. So first of all, I have to create a test case. So in order to create a test case, I have to give a name to that test case. This is an untitled test case. Untitled, right? There's nothing in, that I've saved it as. So first thing first, I got to go and then save this test case as. Now, if I have to go and save this test case, I have to give it a name. So what kind of name do you want me to give it to this test case? It depends on what functionality am I testing. I am going to test the login functionality. So can I call it as a login test case? Absolutely, I can. So how should I save it? File, and I say save test case as, and when I do that, it takes me to an area where I can save this test case. Now, if I were you, this is what you should be doing. Now, I don't want you to go and then save the test cases anywhere, wherever you are on your file system. I want you to create a folder for yourself, right? And organize your stuff in there. So as you can see over here, I have a bunch of folders in here because I happen to do trainings for like different courses. I have advanced QTP training, Android training, Apache Web Server, Bugzilla, and then we have .NET, right? So many other trainings: Java, Jenkins, Jira, JMeter, Joomla, manual testing. So we should come to SS, and I want you to go and then create a folder called Selenium, right? Because in this folder on your C drive, we will be saving everything. So go and create a folder called Selenium whenever you are doing this assignment. This is what it is. After you do that, I have created a bunch of folders in here. So I'm not going to talk about those folders today, but I will talk about only one folder that you should be creating inside the Selenium, and that is something called IDE test cases. Meaning that using Selenium IDE, we will be creating some test cases, we'll be running some test cases, correct? All right, so we need to store those test cases in that folder. So create a folder called IDE test cases, and I have created that folder. And as you can see from the beginning of the time, we have so many test cases that I have created, right? So okay, so I'm gonna be saving in that folder. File, save test case as, in that folder. As you can see up here, it is Selenium IDE test case. What is the name that I want to give to that test case? I want to give that test case a name. This is a test case, TC as in test case, right? And let's say this is my test case for my build, B as in build. Let's say this is build 0210. This is the build number, right? And 14, let's say that's the build number. And this is the build number. And what is the test case? The test case is TrainingRite, right? Login test case, right? Okay, so that's some naming convention that I followed. Now, at your work, your company, they might have certain different training naming conventions they want to follow. So it all basically depends from company to company. So that's the test case name that I've given. I'm going to save it. It's an empty test case. There's nothing in here. Now I will go ahead and do what? I will record my action, because Selenium IDE helps you to do the recording. Recording of what? Of the actions that you perform on the browser. Which browser? The application that we are going to test. Which application are we going to test? We are going to test this TrainingRite.net application of logging in. That's what I am going to test. So I must come in and then start to perform my actions in here. Before I do that, I got to make sure that the Selenium IDE is a recording. So is there a button somewhere over here that tells me how to record? Now, if you take a look in here, I have I have not shown you this, but if you look into this red button, that is the button that is like a toggle. One time when you click, it will record. One time when you click, it will not record. So is it recording right now? If I bring my mouse and hover over it, it says that now recording, now recording. So right now, it's in the recording mode. So how come nothing is recorded? Because on this website, did I do anything on that website? No, I did not do anything on that website. Let me go and do something on that website. What is that I'm going to be doing on that website? I will be performing some actions. What actions I'm going to be performing on that website? Anything that is related to this test case. So what is related to this test case? Those are my test steps. So in manual testing, you would have your test case and then you would have your test steps. So let us come up with the test case and the test steps for it. In English, this is how you would do it. So here I go and show you some of the test cases and some of the English steps for those test cases. If I take you in there and if I go into here and if I bring up this one, this is a test case, right? Test case. Now, I want you to look into it and I want you to quickly read. So the first thing is test case is what? To test the screencast.com login functionality. So rather than screencast, we are doing what? TrainingRite.net login functionality. You'll find that the spelling is wrong many places. That is because of probably I was not paying attention. Okay, let's come back in here. Look into the test steps. The test steps are one by one. We have to perform this step. The very first step is we have to open a browser, right? Preferably Firefox, and navigate to this site. In our case, where we are navigating to TrainingRite.net. Enter an email address into that is the second step. And then third step is enter the password and finally click on the sign in button. Once you do that, now here comes the most important step. The important step is read whether the user had successfully logged in or not. If he had successfully logged in, then we will make this test case as a pass. Otherwise, else we'll make it as a fail, right? So this is perform certain action and this is verify that it is doing what it is supposed to do, right? So in the action part, we will perform these actions and then we will do something called verify or we will do something called assert. So I'm going to come to what is assert and verify in next class. But right now I will perform these actions, right? So the actions are open the browser. So we have already opened the browser. We are here. Next thing is I will go in here and I will enter the phone number. So I will enter this phone number 732-998-6650. Then I enter in the phone. Then I enter in the password. I will enter the password. I'm giving you the password. It is uppercase PASSW0RD is the password. And then the third test step is to click on this submit button. And I clicked on this submit. And when I did that, lo and behold, what I have here is it did log me in. And how do I know that it logged me in? How can I make sure that it logged me? Well, you said, are you not seeing the number that you put in? It is saying that that's the number and it is giving you all this. Exactly. So how can I make sure that this is the same number that I typed in there? I have to basically go and assert, or I have to verify that here the customer phone number is basically the same phone number that I entered. All right, I have to verify. So the way I'm going to verify is I will highlight this and I will right click on it, right? Highlight, right click, and as I do it, it shows me many things. And look at the bottom here. It says show all available commands. Show all available commands. And in the available commands, you can see that I have assert title, assert text, verify title, verify, all of these things. I will come to this part later on, but the fact that I logged in so far, I performed 4 steps. First of all, I opened the browser and I went to where? TrainingRite.net, number 1. Number 2, step number 2, I entered the phone number. Step number 3, I entered what? I entered the password. Step number 4, I clicked on the submit button. So those 4 steps I performed on the browser. Now the question is, did it record that? Did it record in the IDE? Well, let's go and check it out. And over here, as you can see, this is step number 1. It opened the browser. Step number 2, it typed that number 732998. Step number 3, it put the password in the password. Step number 4, it clicked on that click and wait on the button. So it did do the recording. If I do it kind of like in a small fashion here, you can see that it did do the recording, right? So now what I'm going to do is, it's still recording, so I will say that stop recording now. So I did that. It stopped the recording. Let me just file and then let me just save the test, save test. So everything is saved here. Now what I will do is, I will make sure that these steps which we recorded, they were properly recorded. They are performing the automation test or not. For that, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to go away from this website, meaning that I'm just going to go to, let's say, Yahoo. So this browser is open. I am on Yahoo. Let me run my script. This is that script that got recorded. As you can see, these are the lines 1, 2, 3, 4. And in tomorrow's class, we're going to go into some, not tomorrow, on Wednesday, we're going to go into the more details. Right now, just do this, that was I able to successfully record this script or not? If I was able to successfully record the script, I should see that these things, the commands and all that are populated here. And the next thing to verify is to make sure that if I run it, the browser is able to perform, or Selenium is able to go and perform these commands, these actions on the browser. So how do I run it? So remember, for running, we said that, okay, this is for your menus, this is for your which application. For running, this is the toolbar that I will use for running. So if you see there are many things in there. There is fast and slow, and then there is this and then this. Now both of them, they look pretty much the same. The difference is, see these bars 1, 2, 3, and you have only one. That tells us, right? That tells us, if you bring the mouse, it says that play entire test suite. Test suite is nothing but a collection of test cases. See, we have only one test case here. Let's say there was another one for new customer. Let's say there was another one for a lost password. So if you have multiple test cases, that means that it's a collection or a group or a test suite. Because in a test suite, you'll have a collection or a group of test cases. Now I don't have many, I have only one. So how does it matter if it's a collection, if it's a test suite or not? Because I don't have more than one. So I could either do it or I could do this. This is what? Play the current test. I have this as the only test. So what's the problem here? I mean, that's the only test. So it's the current test. So either one would work here. So I'm just going to go and then click on this. While I click on this, I want you to pay attention, look into the browser and see what is happening. There you go. I clicked on that and it brings there. It basically goes there, and then it logs me in. Now you would say, what happened here? I could not even look into anything and something happened here. What happened? A couple of things. Number one, first of all, you would see that there is a green here. This green tells me that my test case did pass. Everything that was here, it was successfully able to complete, right? That's number one. That's a good thing, right? But we can have a better control of this running of this test case by running this test case in a slow mode. So if you see, this is fast and slow. So let me go back and then change it to run in a slow mode. So here I go all the way and I want to run it in a slow mode. And while it is doing that, watch couple of things I want you to watch, right? So I'm going to move it here so that you can watch. And let me go away from here this time to, let's say we are here. That's screencast.com, right? So anywhere, whatever website you are in, it will follow what we are telling it to do. And what are we telling it to do? First step, we are telling it to go to this website, open that website. That's the first step. Number two, this step, highlight. See here, if you see here that the command is type, and the target is where to type. After it goes to this TrainingRite.net website, it will look for a text box with TXT phone as the name, right? And then in it, it will type that. Then if you go in here, it will look for a box which is name is password, and it will type this password. And finally, it will do what? It will click and wait on the submit button. So these are the things it will go. So how can I run it right now? I will go in here and click and watch the browser. So there it is. It will go now to this website. Let's look into here. It's yellow, and then it is done. It's done. It's here. Now you would say that I could not even see where it typed that. Well, I would say that, okay, one more time I'm going to run it, and you can hopefully see it at this time. And while it is executing a command, that line would be light cream color. And then once it executed that line, it will turn into light green color, as you can see. So if you pay attention, it will go now to the first line. So it will take us to that site. Let me scroll down a little bit, and you can see what is happening. Keep an eye now on that phone number. There it is. On that password, click on that, and there it is. So that is your very first interaction with Selenium. So what we have done today is we chit-chatted in the beginning for about 45 minutes. I try to kind of like lay out the plot where we said why Selenium, knowing Selenium is important and all that. Then after that, very briefly, we talked about QTP and Selenium, and then I basically took you into Selenium as an automation tool. Exists in three forms: IDE and RC Server and WebDriver. WebDriver and RC Server will be talking about that in the next classes. IDE, we introduced ourselves to it today. I showed you where to download, how to download, and then we did a simple test case. Here is your assignment. When I see you on Wednesday, if you have completed it, well and good. If you don't complete it by Wednesday, that's fine, because I know probably most of you guys are very busy with your lives going on. So we give a weekend. We give a weekend always between the assignments. So you can take that weekend and try to complete it before you come to the next Monday class. Complete the assignment. Here is the assignment. You should be able to send me the screenshot of that. Screenshot should look something like what I have here, right? This should be the screenshot. So if I see this light green here, if I see this green here, that means that I know that you have already downloaded Selenium IDE on your machine. You have configured a test case to go to TrainingRite.net, and you have recorded that script, and all of these three lines are there, and I see that these colors are light and this is a green dark line here. That means that you ran that test and the test was successful. So with that, I would come to know that you have understood Selenium IDE. Whatever we have told you in the first class, you have understood that. That is how we will measure your understanding and your performance. Like, yes, he or she is getting everything. Okay, the time is up. I need to go. Before I leave, if you have any questions, feel free. Type your questions or talk to me. Ask me your questions. I can unmute you and then you can talk to me. By the way, for those of you folks who have not registered, for you to come to the next class, you have to register, and we will send you the link to come to the next class. The class is not tomorrow. The class is Mondays and Wednesdays. The assignment, the way you send the assignment to us is send it to an email, assignment@trainingrite.com. Yeah, anybody who had paid, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to those folks who have not paid and want to be a part of this class because you're good. So that's about it. That's about it. And I see you folks on Wednesday. Don't wait till the last moment if you did not get your links to attend the class on Wednesday by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Please write me an email that you have not received it. I don't want you to wait till 2 minutes before the class or after the class has started and calling me at that time. You know, it won't help because you would be disturbing so many people at that time. So by 3 o'clock on Wednesday, if you did not get your link, write to us. Let me know that you did not get the link so that we can send you the link. But don't delay it. Don't make it a minute before the start of the session. To send the assignments, you will send it to assignment@trainingrite.com. Assignment@trainingrite.com. That's the email address. You send it to that. This assignment is due next Monday. If you can finish it by tomorrow or Wednesday, I would love you like anything. But if you can take it 1 week, that's fine. Finish it before you come to next Monday's class so that we give you 7 days time to finish it. All right? So you have 7 days. Don't take it to the very last minute to finish it. If you can do it today, tomorrow, or sometime before next Monday, you're fine. All right? All right, guys, I'll let you go right now, and I will, if weather is fine, everything is good, I'll see you back on Wednesday. Same place, same time. Have a good night.